Hi, welcome to my journey. Getting out a little late today. It is 2 o'clock. Uh, yeah. I should be setting my car to the right time, but it's still saying 3 o'clock. But anyway, we're getting out. I'm gonna try to find a place that I can feel comfortable walking in, and if not, I'll just be riding around. But we gonna talk. But it's a beautiful looking day out here. The skies are all blue. There's not a lot of chemtrails in the sky. Just some, but not a lot. Kind of like just a residue of I was I had to give my report today to spiritual realm, and I was not pleased with the report. And the report was basically answering the question, who made this monster, right? And I had to let them know that, this is what happens, when you let the drones get in control, right? Because the drones are supposed to be systematically taken out before they can gain any type of power or influence, right? Drones are able to move back and forth, from, hide to hide. That's not even an issue, right? Because, of course they're big, right? They're big, they're potent, and, but this is what happens when, the drone gets in control. The drone gets in control. The drone is a very unsatiated type of beast that usually is supposed to be taken out before ever getting into, the powers of influence. And that's just talking about like when it comes to the bees and the ants. Okay, let's talk about the elephants, right? The elephants, you will always see that, that male that gets ostracized, and put out, of the tribe, because, they're just seething of testosterone, and and they're out of control, right? Even when it comes to, the pride of the lions, right? Even in the pride of the lions, a lot of the males, they get put out of the pride just because they're out of control. They get put out of the tribe, right? And they have to wander the land alone, right? Otherwise, they become problematic to the existence of the species. Period. So, what had happened is, it seems like it seems like these males that typically should have been taken out before gaining control and influence was not, right? So now this is where you have the monster, right? These males, they think they're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, or they also believe that what they're doing is what they're supposed to be doing naturally. This is why they don't evolve. They have to just be taken out of the equations. The ones that are able to evolve, they no longer identify themselves as drones anymore. Okay, so and that was, the report, that was in my report that I had to send, to Spirit, right? Because they wanted to know where and how. And of course, I asked them, I said, are you really expecting, a queen to take out the drones? Right? Now, I think she would. She would. Right? For a queen to do that, it has to be done precisely. Right? And it almost has to be a beautiful script. Come on, dude. Come on. I don't understand why this guy got all the way on the back of me, on my tail, as if I'm supposed to be pushed forward. And I'm not. I'm not going to be pushed forward. It's just not in me. Okay. So yeah, it can be done, right? But typically, nobody would want a queen to have to defend herself in that way, right? Because a queen, if she's in the same vicinity of a drone, this is a drone that is definitely trying to take over the kingdom, right? And the queen is supposed to let these people know that, this person isn't undesirable and please remove them from, her presence. Now, what they do with them after that is not, it should not have been her concern, right? However, when the justice system or the people who represent the justice system are lustful and they lust after the drone, then that's how the drone didn't get taken out. Right? It was the justice system that said, we're not going to take them out, right? And I don't know, I guess the justice system got in their feelings. Something like that, right? Maybe the drone convinced the justice system that there was no reason to even have a justice system. That having a justice system was, them sacrificing their whole life to, the pursuit of working in judgment, right? But all of us are out here sacrificing our life for, and we die in our positions. All of us, right? The queen, she dies working. The kings, they die working. The workers, they die working. Right? The drones, they're supposed to die working too. Or actually, they're supposed to die after they worked. Oh, is it NTX? So yeah. I mean, I myself had to tell a drone, look, you're for the streets, motherfucker. You need to keep it moving. You come back here, I'm gonna have to kill you. And he was like, what? And this particular drone, he was told that before, right? And he got a bullet in his spine that should help him remember that when somebody say they gonna kill your ass, they probably are gonna kill your ass. So he stepped off, but then tried to do sneaky shit, behind my back, and tried to take me down, using the manosphere of misogynistic men, right? And these misogynistic men are all drones, right? And that's one thing that the internet has allowed these men to do. The internet has allowed these men to connect with other drones. And when these drones started connecting, they were like, we're bigger, we're powerful, we're more powerful, we're stronger, ain't no way that, we shouldn't be in control. And it's like, that's exactly why you cannot be in control. You cannot be in control because absolute power is corrupt. Right? The damned if you do and damned if you don't works on you too. Okay. So, I am out here. It's beautiful. Ooh, I love it out here. Here we got the harbor boats, yes. Little woody area. More lake area. This is so beautiful. Sometimes I think I should be letting y'all see. And I told you, if you gave me enough money, I would have got me a camera, where I can film front and back. But, oh look, I wanted to go fishing today. I did. that was one of the messages that was out there, is that, once these men didn't want to take out the drones, they began to identify with the drones, right? And then the drones seduce them the same way that they seduce everybody, right? And so now we have all of these drones, running around in our community, infecting, both male and female. They don't care, because to them, they were never programmed, to be like a family man. They were never programmed. That's not in their programming. And they refuse reprogramming. They refuse it. They don't accept it. They would rather, die. That's one of the reasons why, since they won't do the reprogramming, to find a place the niche, find a niche in our society, that's the reason why they usually have to be taken out. Right? But in their minds, like I said, they're the biggest, the strongest, the most potent, of the species. They feel like they should rule. But they don't know how to rule because it's not in their programming to rule. They're drones. So that was one thing. And I think I'll close off that video with that, with that understanding. Right? That people are going to have to be deprogrammed from the drone program. Then, once they get deprogrammed from all of them, because all of the men cannot want to be a drone. It's just not going to work in our society. That's why they cannot ever be a leader. They don't care about the details and the hierarchy that exists in order for there to be cooperation, right? They don't care. It's insignificant to them, right? But it's appealing to all men to be able to say, okay, I'm the biggest, I'm the strongest, therefore I rule. Whatever I say goes, right? They love that idea, right? And most of the time, people didn't care that the drones had said that because they had to keep it moving. Right? They had to keep it moving. And then when they settle down somewhere, as soon as they settle down somewhere, they become a target. That's how it normally happens in nature. Unless they find a whole bunch of rebels, right? And who are the rebels? These are the ones that are non-family oriented. And who are they? They're not your single people, right? Let's not confuse somebody being single with people who are against family. You are against family when you're part of the alphabet community. Period. Right? A single person, most of the time, is just a person who hasn't found a suitable, compatible, complementary mate. I mean, sometimes we find some mates that are suitable and compatible, but they don't complement our life. And all of the different combinations that can go along with that. Now, we could say maybe I'm lying, right? Maybe I'm lying. But I'm going to tell you one thing, right, that I'm not lying about. Is first of all, when I was watching the Queen of England, right, and I'm looking at this 80-something-year-old woman stand at attention to watch the military, right? And I seen Trump do it too. And they stood at attention a hell of a lot longer than any civil citizen, can do. Right? And I started tripping off of that because I'm like, yeah, that's true. They were standing at attention. It looked like, they were definitely in communication with the higher ups or something. They was sending a transmission, because they were at attention and they were standing. And these were people that, they were old. But they still stood at attention for an hour or more. Still, right? And it goes back to how, the guards of the royal palace, right? The guards of the royal palace, they definitely stand at attention all day, hours. They're not even supposed to have a dialogue with somebody that's asking them questions. They are just supposed to be at attention, and the only thing that they're to focus on is watching to protect the kingdom, right? Then that brought me back to one of the statements that this guy was going through, right? He kept referring back to, the honor of being in service to something. You have to. Well, men have to. I don't think women have to, but I could be wrong. I think men have to be in service, right? And that's how they became how they became susceptible to being in service of the drones. Okay? That the drones had convinced them that, they were in service when indeed they really weren't. It looked like they was in service. But the drone service is really basically to shake a tail feather. Whatever. Oh. I'm gonna go to this Dollar Tree that I've never went to before and see if they got something interesting in there. I do have to buy some more decongestant. So let's see. So I hope you like that video. We're gonna cut it off here. I'm gonna start making my videos shorter if possible. Not talk so much, okay?